So I want to tell you a little story from about 10 years ago. 2010, my wife and I had just planted a church with some friends of ours in downtown Springfield, Missouri. Now, to give you a little background, Springfield, Missouri is a college town. Some 30,000 college students going to several different institutions there in the city. And so the downtown area was very lively. It's full of restaurants and bars and nightclubs and galleries and theaters and lots of culture. More than you would expect for a little place called Springfield, Missouri. But that's where we wanted to be. That was by design. We had this little shotgun, 2,500 square feet, one floor, in between a piano bar and an antique store. And when we were there, we opened up 4 nights a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening. And we just opened up for people to hang out, for people to get a cup of coffee, to have a conversation. We'd have conversation groups. We would change the art on the walls every month. And we'd have concerts and open mic nights and all kinds of things. And it was a lot of fun. And so I want to tell you a story about what happened one particular Saturday evening. We had an open mic night, and at that time we were combining our open mic nights with a potluck. So we would invite everybody who could to bring a dish of their choosing, and we could eat dinner and we could enjoy each other's songs on the guitar or comedic stylings or whatever they had to offer. So it was pretty cool because people would bring food, people would bring their talents, some people would bring both. And everybody could enjoy what each other had to contribute. So it had become a relatively popular, recurring event. And we, when I showed up on a particular Saturday, I think it was in the spring, started to set everything up, and a few of the volunteers came to get the coffee brewing and everything. And then all of a sudden the power went, and it was dark. So we had no coffee to brew for people. We had no music to play while people were wandering in. And we weren't sure whether we would be able to still have our event. But the front of our facility, when you walk in the front door, it was just a bank of windows. And it was still light outside. It was only 6 o'clock or so, 6:30. And so it was still lit up at the front. Now, normally we would have our open mic night at the back where there's a stage and a sound system and everything. So we knew we weren't going to be able to do that because there's no sound system, no microphones, no lights. So we were all kind of huddled up in the front where we could see each other, kind of trying to figure out what to do. And people just started getting out their guitars or whatever they had and playing them and playing for each other and enjoying each other's company, enjoying each other's talents. And while we were at it, we figured, okay, people want to be here. It's not getting too cold or getting too hot as the power is out, and we can all see what we're doing. So let's go ahead and set up the food people brought on the big counter, and we're going to make the most of the situation. But one of the biggest things that a person brought for dinner that evening was a frozen pizza. And he said, well, this is just going to go bad. We can't cook this in the oven. We have no power. What are we going to do? So I took the pizza and I thought, well, maybe some of the restaurants across the street have their power. Maybe it's just this side that has no power. So I went outside, the street lights were still off and everything was down. So I'm like, I think the whole block is down, but I'll go check anyway. There's actually a pizzeria right across the street from us called South Avenue Pizza. So I took my little, I think it was a DiGiorno. I took my little DiGiorno into this really nice pizza restaurant, kind of with my tail between my legs and just saying, hey, we're having this thing over here at this church across the street, and somebody brought this DiGiorno pizza and we can't cook it now. And I didn't know how they were going to react to that. It's kind of a silly request. But the waitress up front took it, and with a smile she said, oh no, we can throw this in our pizza oven. No problem. I said, oh, you have power here? And they said, no, we don't have power, but our oven doesn't need power. It runs on gas. And they were still serving customers. They're coming, even though the lights were off, I think they lit some candles, and they were still serving their customers. So I thought that was funny. And so I said, well, I guess I'll be back in 15 minutes or so. And they said, oh no, it only takes 6 in our oven because it's super hot. So, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, 6 minutes sounds amazing. And they said, we'll just bring it over to you. So all of a sudden, where is this coming from? They're being super nice to me, even though I'm not buying anything from them. I'm not a regular customer, and I'm bringing in this sad little grocery store pizza to them. But I said, okay, and I went back across the street. And yeah, it was less than 10 minutes later that somebody from South Avenue Pizza came in our door with our cooked pizza in one of their nice boxes. They'd even put it in their own box that was stamped and branded and everything. And with a smile again, said that they were happy to help. Maybe it's something about a power outage or a crisis that causes neighbors to feel extra neighborly to each other. I don't know. So we put we thanked them over and over. We took our pizza and we put it with the other food, and people enjoyed that along with everything else, and just had a wonderful intimate time, kind of all bunched up together in this front of this building where the light was coming in from the street. And when it was all done and we'd eaten the pizza and everything else, we decided to rip the cover off of that pizza box and treat it like a thank you card. And we wrote a message of thanks, and everybody who was there for the open mic night signed it. And we took it back over and gave it to them, and just made sure they felt special for having done something so small but so meaningful to affirm what we were doing in that neighborhood. And it's not much of a story now that I think of it, but it meant a lot to me because I wouldn't have cut the power off intentionally to say, hey, this will make our open mic night extra special if we have no electricity. And I was big on planning. We had lots of events in our calendar. We had so much going on, and we had Sunday mornings where I would preach a sermon and where we'd have visuals and music, and it was humble, but there was a lot to it, and it did require a lot of forethought. And one of the most basic things you need to pull all that off is electricity. And here we were denied that for one of our gatherings. And it turned out so much better because there was no power. I don't have some big surprise lesson in this, but it's something that it comes to mind a lot nowadays, and that I try to bring to mind anyway, is that we are all dealing with so much loss, so many unpleasant surprises, so much uncertainty about the future. And it's really easy to go to that place of thinking, well, it wasn't supposed to be like this. We had these plans, we had trips to take, or we had family to visit, or things to see, things to do. And all of that gets thwarted by this little pandemic, or by any other number of things that happen in life. And we tend to compare today to what we thought today was supposed to look like. And yeah, that open mic night was supposed to have power. We were supposed to have people up on the stage singing and playing into microphones so they could be amplified through the speakers. And we were supposed to have a working oven and a working refrigerator and a working coffee pot. And there was that moment when we first realized that we weren't going to have all those things, that we thought about canceling it. We thought about saying, well, so much for that. Bad luck, I suppose. But I try to remember in my own life that sometimes all it takes is patience. Just to wait and see. To wait and see what good may come. To grieve the bad. Not to stuff it or pretend like it isn't there. To notice it. To cry if we need to cry. To shout if we need to shout. To whine and complain if we need to whine and complain. But also to wait and see what good may come. And my prayer for you right now is that you have that outlet to cry or to shout or to whine or gripe. To embrace your own feelings and express them in the way they need to be expressed. But that there is a glimmer as well, that this too shall pass. Something better is coming. And sometimes it's okay not to know what it is. So I pray that the Lord bless you and keep you today. Until next time.